Welcome to the story behind the place. There's something about walking into a place where time has stood still, where the past feels so close, you could reach out and touch it. Today, I want to take you to one of those places, a house in St. Louis that has barely changed since the 1850s. It's called the Campbell House Museum, and if you've never heard of it, well, you're not alone. But after today, I promise you won't forget it. I was in St. Louis for a weekend, just wandering. No set itinerary, just a curiosity for what the city had to offer. That's when I saw it. A house tucked away in the middle of downtown, surrounded by modern buildings, almost as if it had been forgotten. The Campbell House Museum, I had no idea what it was, but something about it pulled me in, and that's where the story begins. The Campbell House was built in 1851, and it was home to Robert and Virginia Campbell, an Irish immigrant and his young wife. Robert had made his fortune in the fur trade, and by the time they moved in, this house was the pinnacle of wealth and elegance in St. Louis. We're talking marble fireplaces, hand-painted ceilings, and some of the most expensive furniture of the time, all still there, exactly as it was when the family lived in it. But here's the thing. It's not just a fancy old house. It's a time capsule. Unlike so many historic homes that have been renovated, modernized, or stripped of their original character, the Campbell House is nearly untouched. Everything inside, from the wallpaper to the dishes in the kitchen, belongs to the Campbells. It's as if they just stepped out for a moment and never returned. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just a preserved home, it was a snapshot of an era, frozen in place. As I walked through the rooms, I started to notice the details. The parlor with its original Rococo Revival furniture, shipped from Paris in the 1850s. The library filled with books that the Campbells actually read. The dining room, where elaborate meals were served on imported porcelain plates. Even their clothing, yes, their actual clothes, are still in the house. Then I saw something even more haunting, a family photo album. Inside were hand-tinted photographs of the Campbell family. The faces of Robert, Virginia, and their children stared back at me, captured in perfect Victorian elegance. But their story, it wasn't as perfect as it seemed. Robert and Virginia had 13 children. Only 3 of them survived into adulthood. The rest died from illness, something heartbreakingly common in the 1800s. The surviving sons never married, never had children of their own. By the early 20th century, the once lively home had become eerily quiet. And when the last Campbell passed away, the house, along with all of its belongings, was left behind. Everything inside, untouched. It's strange, isn't it? How a house that once saw so much life can now feel so still. The Campbell House isn't just a museum, it's a memory, standing in the middle of a city that's moved on. So why does this place matter? Well, because it reminds us how fragile time really is. When we think of history, we imagine grand battles, famous figures, monumental events. But sometimes, history is just a family sitting around a dining table, laughing over a meal, a mother tucking her child into bed, a man reading by the fire. And those moments, though small, are just as important. The Campbell House Museum lets us step into those moments. And that's what makes it worth seeing. If you ever find yourself in St. Louis, take an hour and visit the Campbell House. Walk through the rooms, look at the portraits, let yourself feel like you've stepped back in time. Because places like this, they're rare. And they remind us that history isn't just in textbooks, it's in the spaces we leave behind. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe for more stories of places that hold history in their walls. And if you've ever stumbled upon a hidden gem like this, let me know. I'd love to hear your story. Until next time, keep exploring.